From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Accused of a cover-up caught on camera. Now on Daybreak, why a Cicero police officer and his family face charges for a Christmas crash.
Plus, voicing their concerns why local leaders say there are more prevalent issues for Governor Braun to focus on than DEI.
Good morning. Welcome to you. It is a Friday, 17th of January. Appreciate you choosing to start the morning here on Wish TV.
You've missed a couple of music fights this morning, but despite the fighting, we're not fighting about these warmer temperatures, right, Marcus?
Well, I mean, we'll take what we can get at this point, right? I mean, there's only one direction you can go.
Great band.
One Direction?
Yeah. Story of my life, these frigid temperatures.
Well, and unfortunately, it may be next week, too. So soak this in today. And you have to think about this, too. It's been almost 2 weeks since we had our big snow, and it doesn't feel like we've lost
any of it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit today, but not much. There's still going to be a lot on the ground for a while, unfortunately. Let's get you outside. I am keeping an eye out on fog, and because we are still chilly, right? I know we're talking about a nice warm-up, but we're still below freezing. Watch for some areas of what we call freezing fog, right? Fog, all it is water droplets near the surface. And so if you're below freezing, those would freeze on contact. Do watch out for some slick spots if you are in some of these patchy areas of fog this morning. I don't anticipate that that's going to be a widespread issue, but it is definitely worth a mention here for the morning drive. No problems downtown right now. It is clear, 26, south wind at 8. It does send the chills into the upper teens this morning. 22 in Lafayette, 26 in Muncie, 24 in Shelbyville. So mid-20s. We are 1 degree warmer than 24 hours ago, but we are on the plus side in a lot of areas around the Midwest. So that is a positive sign. We'll continue to build off that. We had 33 just above freezing yesterday. First time that we've been above freezing since last Sunday. It's quiet, regionally speaking, and so I think a lot of the daytime hours are completely dry. And I'll go a mixture of sun and clouds. We're right at freezing at noon, 37 by 4 o'clock, and then I've got numbers probably topping out around 40 or close to it by midnight. So we just continue to climb the ladder. Warmest day that we've had in over 2 weeks. You got to go back to January 2nd, but it does lead into a very active weekend. Rain as early as midnight tonight. We flip the switch to snow at some point, and then a bitter blast of cold air settles in and may settle in for a while. We'll talk about that in my Storm Track 8 forecast coming your way in just a few minutes.
President Biden has now set a record for the most presidential pardons and commutations. This morning, Biden announcing he's commuting the sentences of nearly 2,500 people whom the White House says were convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. A statement from the president says those offenders are serving longer sentences than they would get today under current law. Biden makes particular mention of longer sentences given to those tied to crack cocaine as opposed to offenders connected to powder cocaine. Biden also says he's, quote, proud of his record on clemency and will continue to review additional commutations and pardons. A Cicero police officer charged with drunk driving and his wife and father-in-law allegedly tried to cover it all up. All of it caught on dash cam footage. News 8's Kyla Russell went to Hamilton County to speak to the prosecutor on the case and to find out if that officer is still on staff.
Captain Ed Hodson, his wife, and her dad now all face charges for a crash right here on East 206th Street near Cumberland Road in Noblesville.
This is an example of the system working the way that it should. You know, there was a thorough investigation. The Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office asked for a special prosecutor promptly upon that investigation, and they worked a thorough case. And, you know, here we are charging that officer to hold him accountable, just like you would anyone else.
Police say Hamilton County deputies responded to the scene and found a crashed Cicero police SUV on the side of the road and a damaged cable box next to it. Police found Hodson's wife, Laura, at the scene. Their investigation revealed Hodson was driving the car when he crashed. He called his wife, who showed up before police. Laura told deputies they'd gotten into an argument and she crashed the car. An investigation using the car's dash cam footage revealed the cover-up.
Between Edwin Hodson and his wife, sort of deciding how Mr. Hodson would leave that scene of that accident, and that Laura Hodson would take claim that she was operating the vehicle to law enforcement in a way to alleviate that responsibility from Mr. Hodson. But fortunately, that evidence exists, and we were able to bring charges in this case.
The camera also caught Laura telling her husband they'd be in trouble if the cops ended up there. And just 200 feet away, investigators say a witness was peering out of his window and saw the entire crash. I spoke to that witness off camera. He said police learned that Laura's parents also arrived on scene before police and begged Hodson to get in the passenger seat of the car, but instead he left. Laura's mom later picked him up and dropped him back off at home. Police say he didn't contact them until 3 hours later and was slurring his words when detectives spoke with him. I went to the Captain Cicero house to see if he had any response. And no answer.
I have all the respect in the world for law enforcement in our community, but with great power comes great responsibility. And I think that law enforcement are held to an even higher standard because those are who we entrust in our communities to enforce our laws.
Hodson was placed on administrative leave after the crash. It's still unclear if he'll return to his position. His first court appearance is scheduled for February. Reporting here in Cicero, I'm Kyla Russell for Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
This morning, the U.S. Supreme Court could issue an opinion on the TikTok ban that's set for this Sunday. The White House says President Joe Biden will leave the implementation of the law up to President-elect Donald Trump. He's set to be inaugurated the day after the ban takes effect. Jane King will have more on the ban coming up in our 7 o'clock hour.
It's 7 minutes after 6 now. Governor Braun's executive order eliminating DEI initiatives in state government is sparking some strong reaction.
News 8's Malia Van Ostrand spoke to lawmakers and local organizations who are blasting the move.
Governor Braun's order prohibits state agencies from supporting DEI programs, procedures, or activities that give preferential treatment based on race, ethnicity, or other factors.
Braun says the goal of this order is to ensure equality for all Hoosiers, but critics argue it could undermine efforts to address systemic inequalities and that there are other issues that should take priority.
I have to say the timing of this is bad when you look at everything we're facing as we've started the 2025 session. We have major issues and topics to deal with: healthcare, housing, property taxes. We should be focusing on those and bettering the lives of Hoosiers.
DEI will be replaced with MEI to promote merit, excellence, and innovation. As Harris sees it, that change creates a false narrative that DEI leads to unqualified individuals getting promoted based only on their race or nationality. He says the pool of qualified people will only get smaller.
Those that are still in the pool may look at this and go, I have less competition, therefore why not charge more? Why not put out bigger numbers than I normally would? That's not good for the budget of our state.
Asian American Alliance President Rupal Thanawala says it's important for diverse organizations to think about creative and collaborative ways to sit down and work with the new administration.
We have been very strategic about building those partnerships.
Thanawala doesn't think Braun's change to MEI means that underrepresented communities will be left out of opportunities.
Early for us to start making those comments. We definitely one thing we want to be very careful is that, there is no increase in hate crime. I think that is my biggest concern because Asian American community has been attacked in past. So that is one concern I have.
Agencies must review and adjust their DEI initiatives for compliance by April 30th. I'm Malia Van Ostrand, Wish TV, wishtv.com, or follow us on Facebook for updates.
9 minutes after 6, new on Daybreak. The Middle East ceasefire appears to be back on track. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says after a day in dispute, terms are settled on the release of hostages and prisoners between Israel and Hamas. Netanyahu says he's convening his security cabinet today with the goal of forwarding the deal to the full government for approval. The deal would pause the war in the Gaza Strip, which is now in its 15th month.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go, connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.